The art of giving thanks. What is it that is about Thanksgiving that's allowing us to say our prayers or to give thanks in whatever way is possible? Correct? Many are saying that our thankfulness is to be destroyed because it's not bound in any sort of, quote, love of all, right? There is disparity in the vision about who should and shouldn't be thankful upon this moment, given what has happened in our historical influence of native and indigenous peoples on this plane, correct? This is a U.S. holiday for the most part. Everyone else has their own differences of opinion about what is to be thankful or what thankfulness is versus I give thanks whenever possible and if possible. This is where Brenda goes in our idea about when we see or hear the messages of love, we say thank you for your soul's wisdom, correct? This is what many are saying. They're thankful for various things. And Brenda is more about highlighting the art or the artistry of it. That means we're coming in from the level of love of souls, whether or not they say their gratitude towards themselves or not. Brenda is one of the most wisest souls when she says, I say thank you to my own soul first and foremost. Why? Right? No, it's literally what she does. Because we are here and we are thankful for our own soul's vision that allows us to experience ourselves in the way in which we are. Right? How many of us are saying this is a very selfish vision? Of course it has some selfishness attached to it. I'm grateful for those around me, right? Brenda's appreciative. Gratitude and appreciation are other aspects of those visions of how it is to be thankful. Brenda is very wise in that world. When she has went through the struggle of her own soul, she said, yeah, I'm thankful not only for my soul, but for my own abilities on this plane to make it through whatever it was that I created with or without other souls on the soul level. That's how strong I am in this idea of empowerment of ourselves. But the artistry of thankfulness is more about saying, let me look around and be grateful for not only just what humans create, but what we are all creating. We're all creating our experiences, but we're also creating everything we see around us in various forms. This is the nature of the consciousness of who we are. Okay? And it is not just human endeavors that are creating the world. And that's what people are starting to understand. So most of us are just giving thanks for whatever bountiful visions we seem to be having. How many are not thankful for their own souls? Wisdom that comes through in various ways. Your own intuition is part of that vision. So how many people are now understanding there's more to be thankful for than just other people that happen to be sitting at our tables, perhaps? Those that have crossed over, that's another vision. Those who are in the idea of I give thanks every day when I go to church and I say my prayers of gratitude for everybody. Brenda is more wise than she looks, is what some would say. Because Brenda has a very interesting vision about what gratitude and prayer are. It depends on what they are thankful for. Brenda's more about the idea of, I'm not going to be grateful for the pain that someone placed upon me for the most part. It was an experience gathered that I can appreciate now in hindsight. But it doesn't mean, oh, I'm grateful for that pain that allowed me to what? It can be that. I have new perspective. I'm appreciative of my experiences garnered. I'm grateful that I have enough inner strength to develop myself in enough ways that allow me to bypass those who claim they have to create with those visions continually forevermore. Okay, there's no good or bad in the vision of soul. But in Brenda's wise words, she felt that gratitude was a little strong for some of those ideas of what it was to give thanks. Okay? I'm not thankful for the abusive visions that came upon my porch, right? No, this has nothing to do with that. This is about saying that I'm appreciative of the values that allow me to live my life in peace and dignity. Okay? I'm the one setting the rules of how I am to live. I'm not here to say thank you to some soul on the other side of the veil, am I? I've already done that. And Brenda's very arrogant in her vision because she says, how many times do they need to hear that they are honored before they figure out we have a lot of work to do here to figure out what's going on here? Okay? It's not about going to some other destination, but we know that the souls are indeed creating with us. But Brenda's like, when they're on the other side of the veil, we already got it figured out. That's why Brenda's like, I don't need to have thanks given to me. I already know what I do for you, and I already know what others are doing for me. I appreciate it. I send out words to the universe. That's where Brenda is. But in essence, it's not about trying to play a role. And this is what she's talking about. Many of us sit around the table and we argue and fight. Or are we there because we want to be? Are we truly thankful about our family's destinations? And Brenda is not saying this about her own family, but she has those visions of it. How many people are suffering because they're forcing themselves to go to these organized peace unions? How many people now are in the vision of we're separating our families according to the vision of whether or not they voted for a certain candidate or not? You want to go to the nitty-gritty of what it's like to be thankful for the perspective that allows us to say, yeah, I'm not necessarily in agreement, but I can sit at a dinner table for an hour or two and sit there and suffer through the vision of, people are placing daggers upon my heart. So what is it really to be artful? It would be gracious acceptance of the experience of having to have discomfort with certain family members. That's what that vision is. And then what that can show us is where either we have more work to do in our own ideas about what it is to be grateful for having food at the table. For many, right? We're grateful that we just have food at our table. Others are saying, I want to have a better experience of who I am. Now, this is why many will choose to be with those that they enjoy more often than not. But thankfulness isn't just about whether or not we can agree. It's really part of it because it's a learning process that we're all going through. Okay, it's the process of understanding they're showing me more about who I am. Truly, honestly. Because we all are in this together. And we all are doing this wisdom together in grace and victory when we arrive on the other side of the veil. But many will say, I'm not in that vision of grace. I'm not thinking that it makes sense for me because I don't align with those ideas of what grace means. It means I'm allowing people to be who they are without telling them that they are somehow wrong for creating the vision of beauty that they are according to their own souls. The issues that we have are about issues. It's not about who they are. It's about where they are in various areas of their life, perhaps, right? The discontinuity of our hearts is where some are saying thankfulness comes from within. And this is why Brenda will align with that idea that in her mind, when she was thinking about gratitude, those were more like when I feel gratitude, I'm usually more in an extreme state of awareness. I'm grateful to be alive. Why? I experienced a life-changing event in many ways. I could have died, is where many go. Others will say, let's continue with the idea of I could have died. right? I could have crossed over, okay? Those are those extreme states, right? I'm grateful that I was saved by somebody. I'm grateful that my soul comes to me when I'm in dire straits, right? We're grateful in those visions. Now, when Brenda's in her everyday awareness, she's not going around saying, I'm grateful for this, that, and whatnot. She can appreciate the vision, because doesn't it say, oh, I'm grateful to have heating and air conditioning? Well, if you were about to, die of, exposure to the cold, yes. If you're about to die of starvation, you would say, I'm grateful for the food upon this table. How many of us take advantage of those souls and are not aware of how luxurious we live in our hearts and our lives? That's why many who are in the vision of I have not much to give. Brenda is in that vision of I have not much to give other than the love that I have for each soul, whether or not they can appreciate it as such or not. I'm not here to give you the bounty of your words of wisdom always. Thankfulness is thankfulness. It's defined by each person for who they are. But Brenda is very careful in understanding that it rings shallow for her to say, I'm grateful for my friends, right? No, she knows that, because when you lose friends, right, then you can appreciate the vision. And that's why she is more in the idea of I appreciate the experiences that I have with my family and friends. I appreciate the various things that bring a little smile to my lips, perhaps. I'm not grateful for it because it doesn't ring as strong when my everyday words are just more about let's just be content in who we are. Okay? It's when you feel that vision of opposites, perhaps, that then those become more in alignment with the strength of what gratitude is. So let's work with thankfulness. I'm thankful I'm alive, right? I'm thankful that I'm here doing what I'm doing. I'm thankful that I have my children's health. That's a gratitude moment for many who are struggling with their souls, who are either not in health or not having children who are upon this plane still. Okay? We have so many souls who have that complexity of being able to offer us their own experiences to highlight what in our lives we are bountiful in. I'm bountiful in soul. I get advice from various souls about how to be more enlightened in my words. Be gracious in your wisdom. Be gracious in it. And yet, what we are seeing is how many will say, when Brenda hears someone telling her how to be, she says, at what point have you decided you know what's best for every soul on this plane? Just because someone else has highlighted the vision of I'm an enlightened soul and I'm able to be here with you and to say that I love you for who you are, that's when the key comes in. That's the key to unlocking the hearts of many. Okay, this is not about saying that anyone should be anything based on anyone else's words of wisdom. We all have different ideas about what it is to be who we are, how we are in each moment and in each breath. So if someone is looking at you and judging you that you aren't thankful enough for your own soul's wisdom, Brenda knows it. That's why she pats herself on the back. And we're going to give you a highlighted moment of what she says for herself. In my life, I wanted more of that support that I thought that I didn't have. But I knew that I had it in myself to do the work necessary to lift myself up to a place where I am now highlighted as aligned with soul level understanding, wisdom, and guidance. When that happened, it became very obvious who I was connecting with and why. But I don't discredit myself and put myself in a place of less than, that I need to then, quote, rise to someone else's level of love in order to be valued and adored for who I am. That's why Brenda wants people to stop putting off on and take off the mask of I'm preparing myself to be looked at as some sort of better than vision than what I really feel in my mind. Be yourself. The Brenda is looking more for the nature of, I would rather people be more authentic in who they are than putting on a mask of discovery of what it was like to feel like someone else and rise up into a different version of who they are. This is why Brenda knows that authenticity and our gratitude is welcome. Don't say thank you to someone that you're not really thankful for. That's where Brenda is. Why would I say thank you to something that I don't want to create with again? This is being honest. This is why we can appreciate the experiences. We can appreciate the values of all those souls. We know on a soul level that we're all connecting and that we're all loved, adored, and cherished by our soul, but it doesn't mean that we have to like everybody here. That's what people need to get through their minds. They are indeed giving us more expressions of love than most would ever understand. That's what most people know. We're not here to align with everybody as they are here on this plane. There are various visions of souls that start to understand it because Brenda's like, don't give me who they are here on this plane. I already can find that out on my own. This is their higher levels of love that come through for them. Okay? And that's what most souls will want. They want you to be authentic in your vision of what love is. Now, for me, when we lose others in our lives, that's when we usually then can really reflect on how much they meant to us in various ways. Relationships gone awry come back to us for a self-reflective vision. I've had to deal that vision with people who've hurt me. Now, how do I know the difference? For instance, if I hurt, the more that I hurt, the more that I know that it was a friendship. Like if a friendship, I had to let go of a friendship, and that was a sadness, of course, that means there's that heart connection there with us and in the mind. If I'm able to easily disconnect, and that's the gentle letting go process, that might be all that relationship was here to show us, is how to let go of people. Okay? So sometimes there is a thankfulness that we made it this far without telling people, I love you all the time. Brenda said, I'm not going to do that vision. That's harmful for a lot of us here. Some people will say, no, it's not. It absolutely, truly is, because we create with our minds. Our souls understand it, and their souls would as well. Brenda goes to a level of love of all that shows people that understanding of, my soul is highlighted as that soul. He doesn't have to go around and tell everyone that they are loved, adored, and cherished by him in order to be validated, right? Is that for him or is that for us? Some people need that vision in order to be felt as if they're loved. What that vision really is we all have our own souls we aim for, and then we can align with those who have those abilities to tap into their hearts and say, yes, my own grandmother knew she was vibrating in the vision of Jesus when she crossed over in her heart. But her soul went through the process of, she would say, deconstruction of the internet, because she says that's where so many people are having problems instead of aligning with those souls on this plane that they actually create with. Wrong. You create with souls that you don't even know that you create with. This is why Brenda's here, to show you why she does indeed connect to that vision of kindness to others. She will be kind to just about everybody, unless someone's coming at her with a knife or a dagger or something. Then she lets loose a little bit. Okay? Kindness prevails on the soul level. Okay? There's a respect for all of us in that vision. You're not going to hear the disparity. That's you from various levels. But you rise above the conflict and you see the situation for what it is. Once you hit that highest level of love, you're vibrating in the beauty of love for everybody. And even if you wanted to say, I love you, I love you, love you, if you indeed were an abusive person to someone, you might want to check that vision at the door, because it's going to give you a different vision of what that would be like on the soul level, what you would be creating with. Most souls who go to that vision know, I say my apologies, I do the best that I can to whomever I've hurt, and I let them be. You see, that's a selfish vision. That's more for your own ideas of, I don't want to be held accountable for the things that I did. I'm going to place it on someone else's vision to set me free from the things that I did to people here. This is why many will not make it through the process of discovery of who they are as soul until they can own up to the vision of who they hurt and how they did it. Okay? The forgiveness is always there for us if we can do it. This is why some of those lessons in those religious institutions and books are very helpful for us, right? We have to do that inner discovery and inner work before we can just lay it out on the line. Many of my friends and family would say she's very arrogant in her soul. And Brenda's saying, no, it's the strength of who I am to discover the beauty of who I am and how I create that allows me to rise above the visions of those who claim that I'm not. Because society is what's telling us. But this is the nature. It doesn't have to be society. It could be our own family members that disparage us in various ways. And Brenda's like, think about it. How many people get told by family tree members or whatever that there's something wrong with them? So yeah, I have a very strong sense of self. And that's what allows me and aligned me with the vision of the souls that want to feel the beauty of who they are, create the beauty of who they are, because we're doing it anyways. But they want to actually experience it as them. And in an authentic way that's not just about puffing up our chests and pretending we're that, doing the fake it till you make it approach. Because a lot of faking it isn't really there. You're going to be sending, conflicting messages to your soul and to the universe. This is why law of attraction and manifestation has a lot of issues, because people are just assuming that their thoughts is about placing a wish and putting some goal in mind. You have to embody the vision of, oh, I'm all that and more, right? No, it's not about that. We can say that all we want. Brenda has her own struggles, but she always knows, I know where I am in my heart and my mind. I know how to get out of any, quote, trouble vision with anyone on this plane. It's very easy for me to tap into the nature of who I am as soul that is in the vision of the love of all and can bring through the vision of love of thankfulness too. Okay, so this isn't just about me. It's about the nature of being thankful for those who allowed us this moment of reflection upon this plane to make thankfulness an everyday occurrence, right? That's why Brenda was there in her journal, and it was a gratitude aspect. And she said, this is a repetitive vision. Grateful for my family, friends, loved ones, my soul, shelter, my house, the abundance that I have. But truly, it starts to go, yeah, I am grateful for it. And you can look in the world a little different. I'm grateful for the weather. I'm grateful for this. I'm thankful. I'm appreciative. Right? Because I don't feel like I need to set up these ideas that there is something lacking. Okay? Because my life was not about telling everybody I love you, and telling everybody I'm grateful for you. My actions and words are there for others to understand. The enjoyment factor is enough. But to be honest, I could appreciate the wisdom that I gained by the hurtful and painful messages as well. It allowed me to see where I was in my own mind most often. My own journey was very discoverable by many, is what they think. And Brenda was very much aware, saying, on this plane, most people don't know who I am. Because it's an internal vision that I work with. As an introvert, I tend to do a lot of inner journeying, inner working, and working through issues that others don't even know that I'm working through. Not only for myself, but for them. That's the nature of what people will say. Her soul is so strong in that idea of, I'm working through the issues for you that you yourselves are not ready for. That's arrogance. But it's an honest appraisal of her heart. There are things that I know people are going through and where they're coming from, how they're getting there, and I will make a self-determined assessment about whether or not they are ready to hear the words of wisdom that need to be said, right? That's just my own inner development that I went through as I was growing up through life, deciding whether or not people knew what was coming. I could predict a lot of things with people, and many people will start to understand it was literally my creative process. And what we understand is, that's why Brenda says, my experience isn't going to be like anybody else's experience, and your experience isn't going to be like anybody else's experience. But that's why our souls give us the unique qualities and endurance to continue through the process of love of who we are. And when we can go to that vision, you see, Brenda is getting told something very strong. Her own love of self is what got her through the visions of what she needed to get through when she went through the process of awakening. It's an enlightenment, but it's an awakening process. And then, as she opened up, she realized that her own vision has always been of love, of respect, and kindness for as many people as she can. It doesn't mean she always resided there, and she had to work through a lot of anger and hatred in her heart for things and people that hurt her in a way that was so detrimental to her vision. And she said, I'm okay. I pick myself up and I move forward. I create a new dynamic, a new vision, a new love of life, a new vision of gratefulness for my family and friends. That's her heart. So, when you have loved ones on the line who aren't in health, those are those moments of love for all of us. Those are those cherished words of wisdom. When people see the actions that align with the love of who they are and the love of who we are. If I love who I am, I'm more able to love who you are. That's what a lot of people will assume, but it's there. We love who we are. It's given. It's just we might not be feeling it. And that's when we start to create those dynamics. Are we looking for other people to show us the love that we ourselves are not actually feeling? And that's a very different understanding. So that's why her program that she's creating is the I love who I am. And the next step in that vision, which is something that is even an expanded vision upon that, is I love who we are. Okay? I love who we are as a couple. I love who we are as a group. I love who we are as a country. I love who we are as a collective, right? As all of us. And then I love who we are as souls, because you'll start to hear from those souls who weren't even on this plane with you. Okay, so it's not just about this moment, but this moment is the beauty, and we honor all of our hearts within that moment. Okay, that's the strength of understanding why Brenda's here. It's not just about the money, because she knows, her soul knows how to tell people, this lady's going to rock the charts with those souls, because in essence, all of those souls say, I'm now disconnecting from my family. It could be that that's the best thing for your soul. Instead of creating chaos, we're now creating alliances within. Ooh. That's what we're doing. It doesn't mean we're separate. It doesn't mean we're creating conflict. It just means that the alliances of who we allow into our experience and our expression are very strong. Okay, many men come to Brenda with various degrees of love, depending on where they either were with her or are going to be with her. And it's due to the nature of what is enlightenment for females, or those who are identifying as females, and the superiority complex that many men are creating with, due to the nature of my books of old have aligned me in the subconscious that there's a male figure there that's going to be the one that creates. And so it kind of elevates us in our mind. And so we've held women down because of the nature. That's going by the wayside very fast in the next, it's not the next century, it's this century, but it's well on its way, but it's gone in the next century. And that's what people are a little worried about. But Brenda's true to the word. It's well on its way, but it's gone in the next century, because it's spreading like wildfire on the internet for the females about the truth and the wisdom of who was taught what by whom, and the historical accuracy is very lacking in most of those books. And so this is why new information and new wisdom is coming through. It's not saying there's something wrong with men. We love you all as males. Brenda's even creating a different version of a soul vision, a course for those who want to align with the idea that I need something a little less flowery and focused on the female experience of what it's like to do soul work. Okay, because it's not just about butterflies, unicorns, and roses. It's about our honor. And male visions are being under attack in many ways. And that's why Brenda knows it's not about saying you're under attack. We're here to enlighten ourselves to the nature of who we are, where we are at this moment. Okay, so that would be one of those visions of if I'm holding someone else down, right? This is a nature of win-win. If someone else is losing, we're both losing. There's no win or lose, really. It's about experiences garnered. But Brenda hears about those who are more in the idea of competition with her or her family, believe it or not. Then that idea that it's not a race to the finish. It's about the joyfulness that we create in each moment. That's what some people say. Brenda's like, oh, for me, it's about the wisdom of each moment. I am not chasing rainbows and unicorns. I'm not chasing after the happiness. Okay? That's not my life. It never has been. The enjoyment of experiences is something I can appreciate from several levels of love. I'm not one that's going to put on a fake happy face just to suit someone else's idea of what it's like to be able to bring every soul their wisdom. It can be hard sometimes to say, I'm going to grant you your wisdom, even though I absolutely don't agree with you on many levels of what love of life is. That's who I am. Okay? So with that, we want to say we're thankful for our audience. We're thankful for those who are taking the time out of their day to appreciate their children, their hearts, their wisdom, because that's what we all are. We're wisdom embodied. We're just not really aware of it, is where a lot of people are. But when people say, no, I can appreciate myself very much, thank you. But it's that ability to then say everyone is carrying their own source of wisdom on board with them. It's just about whether or not they're able to bring it out. That's the nature of frequency and vibration. Frequency bands and vibration. Because it's about our own soul's vision of what level of consciousness we're able to attract and reach and access. Okay, that's why people say it's a leveling up, but it's a frequency that we hit. And it's not necessarily about, oh, there has to be good things that happen to me in my life in order to hit that. That's the golden ticket to love of love, right? The love of life. Life can be hard, and you could still have that love of love. The love of our love, right? So thank you again. Remember to share your bounty with others. That's what people are talking. Share your bounty with others on this day. The wisdom of God is still among us. And this is what people are trying to think about in those visions when they say God is within each of us. And Brenda understands now why so many souls assume that that is the end-all be-all for all of us, when many of us are more aware of the nature of goddess vision, a higher self, our souls. Brenda's of source. It's a non-denominational, non-gender identified vision of what love is for all of us. Everyone can have whatever vision of higher vision they want to aim for or they think they are of. Okay? But that's the nature of source vision, is the encompassing of all of our hearts from various loves of lives, liberties, pursuits of vision. There's no destruction in the essence of we alter our forms, we alter our wisdom, we alter the energy, we exchange it, we create it, and we shift it in various ways. It's an everlasting, eternal grace that Brenda works with most often. And we want you to understand what that means. It means that you're granted that, whether or not you feel it in your heart and mind, always, for doing what you've done. These are her souls that come to her with that vision and say, you may not feel good about who you are in this moment, in this breath, but because of her soul's ability to tap into who she is and who others are, she is aware of the love that is always there, no matter what, and no matter what is said or heard from any soul upon this plane or any other. That's the nature of what love of source vision is, because it means we've expanded past the idea of human identity and human experience. And the idea that souls walk upon this plane that were never even there before, right? She doesn't allow herself to really caretake the vision of those who are trying to create devastation for others in their minds. That's a limited mindset. That's all that was. Thought forms are among us, and Brenda doesn't really delve into thought forms. That's what many will see that they're creating with, rather than the beauty of who they are. So with that, that's a topic for another time. We want to say thank you again. Have a beautiful vision day. Your vision is beautiful, each and every one of you. And that is the true gift that we offer each of us. Have a wonderful day.